Welcome to the Diversity Connector podcast, where we explore the rich tapestry of human experiences. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the country on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging, and together as we dive into conversations that bridge cultures, challenge stereotypes, and celebrate the unique perspectives each of us brings to the table. Each episode is a journey through stories and insights from a kaleidoscope of voices, each sharing their colorful narrative. Whether you're at home, on the go, or just anywhere in between, you're now part of a community that values understanding, inclusivity, and the beauty of diversity. So plug in your headphones, get comfortable, and let's connect through the power of our shared stories. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on the Diversity Connector podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Diversity Connector. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hi, Gertrude. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really looking forward to our chat. My name is Jenn Duggan, and I am the CEO and founder of Peak Women, a social impact brand that is by women, for women, supporting women. I grew up in Sydney and Brisbane over my early years and then moved to Newcastle for high school in the central New South Wales area here in Australia. I moved around a little bit as well as an adult. So I did university at Newcastle for my undergraduate. I did a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and International Relations with second degree honours. I also then did a double master's at Macquarie University online in international security studies and counterterrorism. So I did about 9 years at uni all up and ended up in the Federal Public Service because of that. So I've done 12 years in total at the Federal Public Service, including in locations in Sydney, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Cape York, all the way up in northern Queensland, and now here in Canberra, where I have started my family. So that is my son, my 12-week-old son in the background that you might be able to hear as we talk today. So he says hi as well. So I've been in Canberra for about 5 years now, did the pandemic here in Canberra, and during this time, I was working in a whole of government task force that was focused on bringing new industry and new investment back into Australia as part of the post-COVID recovery. As part of that, we were engaging with entrepreneurs and industries that we hadn't seen here in Australia before, including in the digitech space, health tech, a whole heap of new energy resources, and things like bringing the digital games industry into a hub that we were looking to create in Adelaide. So as part of that journey, I realised that I could start my own business. This would be a great opportunity. And it was through watching some of the entrepreneurs and some of the amazing people that we worked with in that task force that I came up with my idea to start Peak Women. So at the time of recording, we are 2.5 years into this journey and are gearing up for our actual pre-sales launch next week on the 22nd of April, which I'm very, very excited about. Peak Women is a brand that I came up with that is focused on providing corporate women a clothing option that is all about building confidence and understanding what helps you get into that really positive, confident mindset to be able to go out and achieve your goals in your career. To work with the amazing women that I've worked with, but I've realized that the way that they talk about themselves and how they're not ready to ask for a pay rise, and they're not ready to get a promotion or apply for a promotion, it's also the same way that they talk about the way that they dress. Oh, I couldn't wear bright lipstick, or I really love what you're wearing, but I just really couldn't wear it. So I realized that there's this whole piece around confidence that we kind of haven't focused on before. So I went down this path of doing a range of research around what it is with the way that we dress and how we can actually build ourselves up. So like listening to your favorite song in the car on the way to work when you know you're going to have a big day, or you've got something, you're pumping yourself up. I liken that the same to the way we get dressed in the morning. So put on a color that makes you feel powerful, put on a particular outfit, a blazer, whatever it is that makes you feel powerful, so that you can actually go about your day in this really positive, confident mindset. So on this journey, I've done a lot of research. I've learned a lot about manufacturing clothes, about building social networks, about building a website, and all these things that I never thought that I would be able to do. And every time I tick one of those little things off my to-do list, I feel really proud of myself that I've been able to achieve it, because being a federal public servant, being my background in the degrees that I have got nothing to do with design. So it's all been a really new process for me. Having come from situations where I've been physically abused, emotionally abused, financially abused, in a range of different relationships, to get myself here and to be supporting other women to find their confidence is really something that's important to me, and helping women empower themselves in certain situations through their career, but also, in a range of situations that they're in is really important to me. I have an amazing family and a very supportive partner and a beautiful new son, which has all been part of my journey. I like to say that I've birthed one baby a couple of weeks ago or months ago, and now I'm birthing another, which is my business. So getting to meet some really astounding women on this journey has been one of the things that has kept me going. The whole part of the brand about being by women, for women, supporting women. We have partnered with a manufacturer in Vietnam that employs women in need who are coming out of difficult situations, and they're upskilling them and training them across a range of different areas within the manufacturing industry. So it's not just putting someone behind a sewing machine and that's where they are for the rest of their career. We are also partnering with not-for-profits here in Australia that are helping women get back on their feet, including survivors of financial abuse, that, I engage with them on how to dress professionally and find that piece of clothing that's going to work for them to build their confidence in the workplace. So it's this whole end-to-end piece. We're donating profits back into not-for-profits to help grow this platform of confidence building in different areas for women in need, and just providing a product that is an amazing corporate blazer and trouser combo that, has all the things that a woman wants in the workplace. It has multiple pockets inside and out. But then it also has some positive affirmations printed on the lining inside of the jackets, which is really going to help take that psychology of how we dress and the enclothed cognition that we get from that, and build on that mindset continuously. That's that extra chink in your armor to really support you go about your day, so that you can actually smash your goals, put your hand up for those opportunities, ask for a promotion, and really achieve what you want to achieve in your career. So I am very excited to be launching this brand and this range of jackets in the next couple of weeks. And I have a whole heap of really exciting stuff coming out on social media, and getting to talk to amazing women like Gertrude about my journey, and listening to other women's journeys on this path as well. So I am absolutely pleased to share this story with you, and I hope that as we go forward, we'll all you'll be able to come and check me out on social media, LinkedIn, and everything, and have a look at what we're doing for the whole female community.
Just listening to you speak about clothing being your armor, it is fascinating, because when I dress in the morning, depending on what color I'm wearing is what I'm going to be confronted with that day. If you see me wearing
Exactly.
red, is my power color. I'm ready to go to battle. If you see me wearing yellow, I need to energize myself. So you're so right. What we wear does make a difference in terms of how we feel. So congratulations on bringing out this amazing brand.
Thank you.
Now, can you describe the moment or the experience that catalyzed your passion for gender equity and that led you to advocate for closing that gender gap, pay gap?
When I was younger, I never understood the gender pay gap. Like a lot of people still don't. You know, I've always been in award-based roles. Even when I worked at Coles as a young person, I was, you know, getting paid as the same as every other 15-year-old person that was getting paid at Coles. So I didn't understand, you know, where that gap came from. But then obviously as you get older, you do start to notice other people getting promoted around you. You do start to notice that, you know, you're not getting to those high levels. There's less women above you than there was before. Not so much in my specific organisation in the Federal Public Service, because here in Canberra, it is very female focused. However, out in the regions across national offices around Australia, there's a lot less women. So when I was in Cape York, for example, you know, this was only 2017, 2018, and I would have people still referring to me, even though I was kind of federal officer, as the beautiful Jen and the sexy Jen and all of these sorts of things. And I was like, you know, you can't actually say that to me. I'm a professional and I'm a federal government representative here. So I started to notice those things a little bit more. And now that I'm on maternity leave, I've had to work out how to manage my leave so that I can have as long as possible to be able to spend time with my son. Some more, it's every time you kind of come across that extra little bit of policy that really interacts with you, that you go, that's not really fair. So, you know, it was even restricted as to, you know, I had the choice between taking my leave either at half pay or full pay. I couldn't say, can I please have my first 6 weeks at full pay so that I can just set myself up financially and then switch to half pay. They were like, no, that's too hard for us. So, and I even reached out to the HR team and was like, could we consider a policy change next time you have to look at it, especially given the Commonwealth government is looking at changing the maternity leave legislation at the moment. So I thought this is a great opportunity for you to expand on that and really support female workers. And they kind of just dismissed that and went, yes, let's just wait because, you know, we're going to have to make changes and, you know, feel free to take your leave at either half pay or full pay, basically. So it's just the more I spend time in the workforce and I talk to other women, you know, I'm the person that women come to in my organisation and go, I'm being harassed, or, you know, my boss is saying this and I'm not sure if that's okay, because I've read all the policies. You know, I've been a leader in the organisation at so many different levels for such a long time that I have had to read those policies because I want to make sure that I'm providing fair decisions and fair guidance to the staff that report to me, which means that everyone comes to me because they're like, oh, I have this staff member that's being harassed and I don't know what to do. Or, you know, I'm trying to engage with HR on this particular issue and they keep blowing me off. So, it's the more, and I can't remember who said it, but it's this level. I think it was in a book that I read by Dr. Kirsten Ferguson. And it's like this level that you go through of understanding and awareness of what actually happens to women in the workforce and that difference.
So crazy. So how has your leadership style evolved over your career in public service? And how do you integrate your commitment to gender equity into your leadership approach?
So my leadership style initially was very direct and very, you know, I worked in male-dominated areas and I worked out in the regions. So it was very much this is what we should do, go do it. And I've had to kind of soften, and we refer to it as soft skills, but it's not even soft skills. It's just, you know, broadening your emotional intelligence and understanding how different people are going to react to different ways of leadership. So, you know, understanding how to talk to people differently. And I like to, when I write an email, I usually just kind of go, this is what we need to do, and this is how. But I've had to kind of top and tail those things to go, hi, how are you guys going today? Let me know if you've got any issues, and put some of that extra wording in there, just because my short, sharp communication style doesn't work for everybody. And one of the other things that I like to do when I do have a new team or somebody sitting with me for the first time is to say, communication is a compromise. Like, it's a two-way street. It's not just how you want to be communicated with or how you want to communicate, and it's not about how I want to do it either. It's what's going to work for both of us, and understanding how that other person does communicate, because there are going to be times where you're going to get a short, sharp, okay, great, from me, and that's all I'm going to give you, because that's all I have the capacity to give you at that particular point in time. But I make sure that people understand that that is not a reflection on them or our relationship or anything like that. That is my communication style. So if we can sit down right at the beginning and understand each other's styles, then that usually means that we come together better as a team. And obviously it's not just about one or two people, it's about the whole team. So from a leadership perspective, I like to set that kind of tone right up front. I have a real firm but fair way of dealing with situations. So, I am going to be flexible. I am going to offer support. I'm going to kind of push you in a way that might make you uncomfortable, because I'm all about sitting on the edge of your comfort zone. But I'm also going to be very supportive in that. I'm going to guide you. If you want to go off and learn something that's got, not much to do with what we're actually doing here, I'm going to support you as much as I can in that space. So, it's kind of building that relationship, but then also making sure that people are aware that, you can't take the piss out of that situation. Like, don't take advantage of me, because I am being so flexible with you. So let's come together and compromise.
So let's go and talk about your brand and really focus on it. How do you see the connection between fashion and professional confidence, especially for women in the corporate world? And can you share a story or an example of how Peak Women's jackets have impacted an individual's career?
So with the way that we dress, there in 2012, there was some research done at a university in America that came up with the term enclothed cognition. And what they did was they did some aptitude testing, and then they gave out a range of white lab coats to people. Half of the people were told this lab coat belongs to a doctor. The other half were told this lab coat or this white coat belongs to an artist. And then they redid some aptitude testing. What came out of that was the people that were told they were wearing a doctor's coat actually performed better than the people that were told they were wearing an artist's coat, because mentally it put them into this state of mind, and a little bit like osmosis of, yep, I'm now more intelligent than I was before, and they were more confident and able to answer questions that they probably couldn't do. And so they came up with this term of enclothed cognition, meaning that you put on clothing that then is going to affect how you're going to actually perform. So a little bit later than that, in 2015, another university did some further research on it, and they talked about blazers particularly. And the research said that if you wear a blazer in the workplace, you are more likely to speak up in meetings. You are more likely to make decisions in the workplace. You're more likely to be able to take on negative feedback better. So my whole concept on this is not so much, yes, I've designed the blazer, but it's more about understanding and educating, helping women understand and educating them that, it doesn't have to be a blazer. It could be, like you said, certain colors. It could be today I am wearing red, or today I'm going to put on this piece of jewelry, or even lingerie for some women that nobody ever sees, but they wear a particular type of lingerie and they feel empowered by that. So, this all about because, as I said in the intro, I was working with a lot of women, and I, at that point, was shopping at Target. Preview at Target is a really lovely range of workwear that they have. And I had this particular suit that was grey with light pink check in it, and people would always comment on it and say, oh my God, you look amazing. And I was like, oh, great. It's from Target. Thanks. You could go get one. And they're like, no, I could not wear that. And so that's how I kind of came up with this idea of right, women need options to be able to go out and find their confidence and understand that there's confidence to come with the way that we dress. A lot of the times that I mentor people on interviews and coach people for interviews and things, one of the ladies I was working with, I said, "What are you wearing?" She said, "Oh, just a blouse." And I said, "Do you have a blazer?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you feel when you put that on?" She's like I'm going to get the job. And I said, "So why are we not wearing this blazer to your interview? Why is this not the option that we're just always pulling out of the wardrobe?" And lo and behold, she got her promotion. So it's kind of that it's that self-sabotage of, to me, post-COVID in particular, women are in this dressing down state of, you can't tell me what to wear, it shouldn't matter what I wear, and so we've gone into this trough of how we dress, particularly in the workplace. And certain industries, depending on what they are, federal government being one of them, you do have to meet a certain standard to be considered a professional or being given some of those opportunities. While we talk about we shouldn't be judged for how we dress, the conscious and the unconscious bias still exists. So people may be thinking it and just not saying it, or they might not realize that they're even thinking it. They could just go, "That person just gave me a weird vibe. I didn't like it very much." And it could be because it's how they dress, but they're not thinking that that's what it is. So, we have to be thinking through, how can we stand out for all the right reasons? How can we stand up and, really put ourselves, our best foot forward, by putting on a piece of clothing, which then puts us into a really confident frame of mind, which then means that our body language changes, our tone of language changes, and what we're projecting out to everyone is confidence and professionalism, which means what's being perceived is confidence and professionalism. So it's this three-part piece of, what you wear in the morning and how it actually impacts your day.
Yes, yeah, it is so beautiful. So your designs include subtle positive affirmations. What inspired this unique feature, and how do you decide what affirmations to include in your clothing?
I am a sleeve roll-up girl, mainly because I'm a short person, so my designs and usually most jackets are a little bit too long for me. But I've always loved that contrast of that really bright lining in a jacket or a blazer, or even just like, as you see, a trench coat or something with the bright lining underneath it, looks fabulous to me. So, trying to work out how to find a blazer or a suit that's going to help people feel more confident. And then I've seen a range of brands that put sneaky little labels, like messages in their care labels or their swing tags and stuff like that kind of either are about being confident or they're a joke or, anything like that. And I thought, let's take that one step further. Let's actually print it into the lining, because only you really see the lining unless you're actually showing off your jacket to people. And so, that's kind of how it was born. It was a brainwave moment that I was like, this is a great idea. And that's probably the whole reason why I started on this trajectory, because it's something that I haven't seen before.
It's really unique. So you've partnered with ethical manufacturers who employ women in need. How could you elaborate on how this decision aligns with Peak Women's mission, and what challenges you faced in maintaining ethical standards?
So I follow Outland Denim, which is an Australian denim brand that their story is amazing. And they were a husband and wife couple that were holidaying over in Cambodia, and they ran into a lady that worked for a not-for-profit who was trying to find a job for these women that she just literally rescued from the sex trade. And this couple went, "We'll employ them. We don't have a business to employ them, but we will employ them and we will create a business." And they created Outland Denim and manufacture jeans and denim products in Cambodia, specifically to employ women who have come out of the sex trade in that country. And it was stories like that were in the first business book I read, which is called Cult Status. And it talks about how you can no longer just have a brand. You can't just be, "Hey, we're creating the next Nike, just buy our stuff. It has to be about, what social impact are you creating? What environmental impact are you creating? And what's that feeling that you're giving to your customers when they purchase your items? So I wanted to make sure that, obviously confidence is that thing that we're creating when people purchase our items, but we're trying to empower women through our products and through our business. So there was no point to me to be empowering women here in Australia and wherever they're buying our products, while taking advantage of women in another country and manufacturing these things. So it kind of set me on this journey of how am I going to find a manufacturer that's aligned with what I am. And it was difficult. A lot of things, particularly clothing, are manufactured in Bangladesh and in China. Some of the worst sweatshops in the world still operate in those countries. And I wanted to make sure that I was not kind of in a position where I could be a hypocrite, basically. Yeah. So I managed to find this through a Facebook group. I asked the question, people sent me a blog that kind of had a range of different manufacturers on it. And I found my manufacturer, who is Yoke Apparel Manufacturing in Vietnam, and they have been really amazing and helpful throughout the entire journey. And they have a really strong social impact and give back policy as well. So they give back to their community a lot. Whenever there's like kind of their festival seasons and all of that, they're out there giving back to their community. So I thought that was really important for us to make sure that we're supporting people elsewhere as well. And it's something that I ideally, if I get to the point where I am manufacturing my own, or I'm building up, then I will also give back to wherever we end up manufacturing, if we bring manufacturing on shore and those sorts of things as well. It's part of the vision for future Peak Women.
Now, sustainability is a significant pillar for Peak Women. Can you discuss the sustainable practices that you employ in manufacturing of your jackets and how you balance this with cost and functionality?
So obviously in the clothing industry at the moment, particularly here in Australia, we have got a real focus on sustainability in fabrics and manufacturing of fabrics and things like that, and recycling of clothing. I did a lot of research into different fabric options, and some of the things that I found are actually a lot of the fabrics that they're claiming are sustainable are not actually that sustainable. So, when we talk about the fabrics like Lyocell, et cetera, that are made from wood pulp, they are, cutting down rainforests to kind of plant other trees. They are having massive amounts of water put into the system so that they can actually make the fabric, and using a ridiculous amount of chemicals that then is washed back into waterways a lot of the time as well. And so I even found one that they use eucalyptus to make a certain fabric. And I was like, oh, great, that goes with an Australian brand. But then, they're now planting eucalyptus in places like Borneo just so that they can then create this sustainable fabric. And so there is deforestation that's happening as part of that. So it's this really hard place to kind of find and plant your foot without greenwashing. There's a lot of greenwashing that is really happening in the fabric industry. So we have gone with a cotton rayon blend for the lining of the jackets, which means that it is sustainable. It is, it basically feels like you're wrapped in a bed sheet. It's so comfortable. But the outside of the jacket at the moment still is polyester. And that was a decision that I made based on weighing up between going down the polyester path or a sustainable path from a cost perspective, because a lot of the time the more sustainable fabrics cost a lot more than I can afford at the moment being a startup. But also, to me, a lot of women don't even own an iron that I speak to. Are getting dressed for work every day. The last thing they want to do is pull out the ironing board and have to iron something. I stand in front of my wardrobe and go, what don't I have to iron? So using the polyester means that it's more likely to, not get wrinkled. You wash it, you hang it, and you can just put it on and it'll be good. It'll, it's very crease resistant. So that's kind of, we've gone half and half on that for that reason. We did do a lot of research into recycled polyester, but the colors aren't available like they are in just the normal polyester. So I either had to sacrifice and go down the route of just, you know, your plain boring suit colors, which is completely against what the brand is about anyway, or switch back to normal polyester. So we will continue to research it and look for options to go more sustainable as we bring out more ranges.
Okay. Now, with each purchase, profits are donated to organizations that assist women in need. How do you select these organizations, and can you share any success stories resulting from the support?
So Arise Foundation is an organization that I currently volunteer with, and they are based out of Sydney, and they're a employment, education and placement not-for-profit that works specifically with women who are survivors of financial abuse. So a lot of the women that come out of these situations, they don't have jobs, or they've never had a job because that's part of the control in which the environment that they've come from. And, you know, they go through a 3-month program that's all about building confidence, as well as understanding, you know, finding out what kind of jobs that they'd want to do, how to get the skills for those, how to apply for jobs, how to interview. I come in at the end and we talk about how to dress professionally for the roles that they're interested in. So we talk about admin roles, IT roles, childcare roles, nursing roles, all of those sorts of things, both from an interview perspective, but then also how to kind of start in the workplace in a professional way with the way that you dress, and how to find that piece that is the one that makes you feel the most confident and empowered based on, you know, your own personal style. So working with organizations like that, there's also a couple of organizations here in Canberra that I engage with on a regular basis. So that's kind of through my network that I'm finding these organizations in the first instance. And at the moment, you know, as we're just launching, there hasn't been a lot of money coming in for us to be able to donate. So we're donating time and knowledge at the moment, and then we'll start donating money once we've kind of got some people buying from us and able to kind of continue that on.
So looking ahead, what are the next big steps for Peak Women? Are there new product lines or initiatives that we can expect in the near future?
So at the moment, we have a range that is 3 colors. So we've got a dusty rose, the green that if you're watching, I'm wearing the green at the moment, which is more of a teal color. And then we also have a floral print, which is basically a combination of the 2 colors on a black background, so that you can mix and match if a full suit in floral print is not for you. And so once we've kind of sold a couple of those and we've gotten some feedback from our customers, then we'll look at tweaking the design and then rolling out a range of different colors and prints from that, including different linings and you know, different colors and different affirmations in there. Then we'll start adding things in like a dress and a skirt, and those, you know, some of those other professional pieces that come out. Whether it'll be a pencil skirt is yet to be determined, or something a little bit more flamboyant. We'll see. So it's very exciting. There's so many options of what we can do and how we can go about it. I'm very much looking forward to getting this range up and running and then being able to expand from there.
Now, what advice can you give other entrepreneurs who want to create a social impact through their business ventures, particularly in the fashion business?
I think social impact is something that a lot of businesses need to think about, even businesses that have been around for a long time and are already doing very well. It's the new way of kind of, I think, finding something to do with your profits that bring a positive feeling back to your staff, to your community, to your customers. And if you're not doing it, then, you know, I highly recommend, you know, having a look at the social impact research that's out there. If you're starting a business, the social impact to me is kind of where to start. If you know what kind of impact you want to make, then, you know, the ideas will just start flowing. It's one of those things where, you know, women's confidence and women's employment is something that, you know, is where I started. And, you know, we've come up with a whole range of ideas of where that could lead to, whether it be products, whether it be coaching, whether it be programs. You know, I'm working with a couple of other ladies at the moment to build some programs around how to build up your confidence in the workplace, which isn't just about dressing, but, you know, there's just so many options of where to go from there. So once you understand what the impact is that you want to make, whether it be environmental or social, then you won't be in want of ideas.
My last question for you, and your new man has been so good. How has leading Peak Women shaped your view on leadership and success? And what lessons have you learned that could be inspiring for other women aiming to make a difference in their fields?
Imperfect action is the most important thing to kind of wrap your head around, because I've sat here for 2.5 years getting ready for this launch, and there were some times where I was like, I don't know what to do next, or I don't know how to make this decision. So, you know, I created a Spotify playlist that is not going to help me move forward in any way, but makes me feel better when I'm listening to it. But, you know, it's about, you know, that imperfect action. Don't become paralyzed by the fear of, I don't know what the next step is, or I don't know how to do the next step. You just have to keep researching, and there is so much information on the internet. There are so many people that are in a similar spot to you, or that are a little bit further ahead than you, that are able to assist on your journey. And it's a way to kind of find your passion and bring it to life, because once you kind of are on that roll, there's really no stopping you. And if you go with imperfect action, you will just kind of go, okay. Like I put out a post on Instagram 2 days ago, and I spelt my own website wrong. I spelled women wrong in the post, and I went, oh well, and I just kind of made a comment underneath it and went, well, that's awkward, the awkward moment when, and just kind of rolled with it, and adjusted it, and, you know, told people in my comments that, you know, yes, it's wrong, this is the actual one if you're interested. So, you know, there's no point in stressing about it, because people actually engage better when you're human and when you're imperfect, because they feel like they can actually achieve something similar, or they can connect with you in some way.
I think there's a lot to be learned by women about being perfectly imperfect. Thank you so much for finishing off the interview with this beautiful advice, and good luck to the venue, this venture that you're on. It's exciting, it's empowering, and really needed to get women ready for the workplace. Thank you so much, Jenn.
Thank you so much for your time, Gertrude. I really appreciate it.
And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Diversity Connector is bringing you stories and voices of women from all over the world, sharing their stories to empower and uplift you. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thanks again, Jenn.
Bye.
And that's a wrap, everybody, on today's episode of the Diversity Connector podcast. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our vibrant and global conversation. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a tapestry of diverse perspectives. Remember, every story you've heard today is a thread in the larger fabric of our shared humanity. So, as you step back into your world, carry these stories with you and let them inspire you to embrace and celebrate the rich diversity around us. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these inspiring stories with more listeners. Do follow us on social media by looking for the Diversity Connector podcast for more updates. Until then, keep connecting, keep listening, and keep celebrating the beauty of diversity. This is the Diversity Connector podcast signing off. Stay curious, stay open, and definitely